Hey, what's up, guys? This is Aleko here. I am bringing you my newest pauper brew, calling it Sultai Lantern right now because it's kind of akin to the modern Lantern control decks. You use a card called Thoughtpicker Witch to control the top of your opponent's library, so you can control their draw steps, make them draw lands until the end of the game, and win in any number of ways from there. I first saw a deck similar to this posted to Reddit. It was a blue-black based deck that used Mirror Servitor as sacrifice fodder to Thoughtpicker Witch. It had some really cool stuff going on in it, and I tested it out. But what I kind of didn't like about that deck was that you were completely limited on the number of times that you could Thoughtpicker Witch your opponent by the number of Mirror Servitors that you could find. And also, it was a little easily interruptible by removal. So I thought, well, is there a way to sacrifice a creature an infinite number of times? Because then your Thoughtpicker Witch just reads 1 mana. Uh, look at the top two, and then the game's, game's your oyster at that point. And I found Ivy Lane Denizen and these green persist creatures. So what this does is whenever a green creature enters, you can put a 1/1 counter on it, and whenever this creature dies, it returns to the battlefield with -1/-1 counter on it. So it triggers when this dies, re-enters, triggers the Denizen, cancels out, and you can have an infinite sacrifice loop. So not only can you pitch the infinite sacrifices to the Thoughtpicker Witch, but you can pitch it to a Carrion Feeder to get an infinitely large Carrion Feeder. And all the while, if you have an Essence Warden in play, you're gaining one life each time these creatures re-enter for each Essence Warden use you have. So this deck has a lot of play to it. There's a lot going on, a lot of cool ways to win the game. It's fairly easy to assemble your combo between all the blue card draw that you have here, as well as these 5 cards here, Grapple and Grim Harvest, which can kind of serve as redundancy to go and bring back all the creatures or the things that you need the most. Grapple is just an excellent card. Probably there should be 4 of this card in there, but Grim Harvest is also really, really good with this deck. You can loop it over and over and over again with Tribe Elder to get you up to just a ton of mana, which makes it really easy to kind of overwhelm control opponents in a single turn. Or you can loop it with Mulldrifter to just draw all of the cards, again, kind of overwhelm control decks with your ability to just have just a ton of cards in hand, a ton of mana in play, and kind of assemble your combo that way, just through sheer power. So just to kind of break down the deck a bit, a lot of these combo pieces are kind of really locked into the deck. Maybe you can go up or down one persist creature down to 6. Maybe you could the removal you could change up a bit, either add more of it, 1 more to the main, 1 less, or come down 1 copy of these card draw spells. Though I think this is the correct number. The rest of the deck is pretty set in stone. Probably about like 57 cards in the main deck. 56 are kind of totally kind of really needed for the deck to function the way that it's intended. You feel free to play around with this a little bit, but I would not recommend that you try to trim down on the things like the Tribe Elder or on these redundancy spells. I also tried this out as a straight green-black deck with Grizzly Salvage in it, but what I found with that deck was how that deck was losing is that if it would try to assemble the combo and fail because of removal, counterspells, etc., it didn't really have a way to try to go for it again because you couldn't draw multiple cards in a turn. I did try out the new one in the black, what's it called, Knight's Whisper, but the loss of life and just combined with the fact that they're not as repeatable sources as these cards are, it wasn't enough. You really need this blue card draw to kind of power you through. So this deck's been performing much better once I added the blue. So if you're thinking about going green-black, I wouldn't recommend it compared to this Sultai version. Also, it's quite easy to support the 3rd color between these Tribe Elders and the mana base here. Let's take a look at the sideboard really quick. Again, blue offers you this counter magic, which just makes kind of the whole subset of blue-based control matchups not only winnable, but perhaps even favored. I feel really comfortable against decks like blue X-Tron, blue-black control, blue-red control, because between this and just the ways that you can overwhelm your opponent with like mana advantage and card advantage, and their lack of pressure, I feel like I just have a lot more play to what I'm doing than what they're doing. So these counter spells are really, really great. Again, I'm not not positive these numbers are perfect. I think most of the numbers in the sideboard could definitely be played with. This is the area that needs the most improvement right now. But for now, 3 Dispel, 3 Negate's what I'm sitting at. The removal spells, I'm sure is not correct, but this is what I'm using for now. You might want one more spot removal spell. There's the 4th Edict here, because Edict is just a great card. It's very easy to get up to the flashback cost in this deck. And then Tragic Slip is preferred over cards like Doomblade because it's very, very easy to trigger in this deck between your sacrifice outlets, your Tribe Elder, which sacks itself, and things of that nature. So you might need one more of these spot removal spells, but that's what I'm at for now. Next, you see the Caustic Caterpillars. This is our preferred way to interact with artifacts and enchantments because they can be returned off of Grim Harvest or Grapple the past and found much more easily. They also trigger Ivy Lane Denizen. It's really important that to get one counter on the Ivy Lane Denizen against red decks, so it has 4 toughness. So you can dodge cards like Bolt. So that's another reason why these Caterpillars are preferred to cards like Gleeful Sabotage or Naturalize or something like that. And then last you see probably the most suspect sideboard card, which is Shrivel. And the reason this is here is because the matchup that I was having the hardest time with was Elves, or aggressive decks that go very wide. I was having the most troubles with, like Mono White also. So this is kind of a hedge for those matchups, and it's a little suspect because we have all these 1 toughness creatures. But again, this is for the matchups that we just have trouble with. So maybe these are not perfect. Again, I'm not pretty sure the sideboard could use a lot of tweaking. Maybe I could see 4 or 5 cards being different, maybe even more. But for now, this has been performing quite well. Overall, the deck has, I'm sure I've mentioned this before, just a ton of play to it, all sorts of activated abilities, really cool sequencing and interesting things to do, like knowing when's the right time to go for the combo, to load up on mana, to load up on cards, things like that. It's really, really fun. There are very few matchups which feel straight unwinnable, even the very aggressive decks, which are kind of the harder matchups. You have cards like Essence Warden to gain life, Persist creatures to muck up the ground, Tribe Elder to muck up. So it's felt very solid. It's still got a little ways to go before I kind of give it my full 100% stamp of totally done approval. But for now, I think it's at a point where I definitely recommend you go try it out. Pop into a league or 2 and see how it goes. So anyways, this has been the Sultai Lantern deck tech, and take it easy.